This boy and girl are going to be well equipped when the time comes to take their places as worthy members of adult society.
Aloha, y'all. This is Daniel Eisenman, the host of the Breaking Normal podcast, where my guests are all invited based on the frequency of synchronicity, all done in person, and all trailblazers in the breaking of all things normal.
All right. Welcome back, y'all. And welcome back, Steph.
Yeah.
Welcome back to the Breaking Normal experiences. We've had so many. I am basically just excited to reflect on how we met and what we're doing here.
It's crazy.
2012.
I have no idea.
September 28th, 2012 is when I met you.
Wow. Okay. So exact date. What time?
That's the day I met Diana, too.
Yes.
I was eating veal when she got there. I brought you a peaches and cream.
Thank you.
Tallow balm. Do you mind if I put some on real quick?
Go for it.
Let me make sure it's good as usual.
What you gotta do?
You see, you like the peaches and cream the best.
I do. Yeah.
Can we have like a little moment for me to gather my heartbeats and thoughts, and you tell me what do you like about this tallow balm?
Oh my gosh.
And why were you making sure I brought some today?
Well, number one, I was making sure you brought some because I'm in Denver and it is very dry here. And this stuff is the best for like your skin just being so hydrated and nourished. It's amazing. I've actually been using it on my face. Like I started doing that maybe 2 months ago because my mother-in-law, Carol, she was like, I'm going to start putting this on my face. And she's like, Steph, it's really good. So I started doing it and my skin's like really different because of it.
It's so like, it makes my skin feel so supple.
Yeah.
And nourished.
Very.
And it smells so good and it feels so good.
And
Anyways,
that's like,
I just wanted to get a little pinch before I gave it away. There you go.
Thank you. That's like up and coming for, like women's skincare.
Yes. It's like the oldest
Tallow.
skincare as well.
Wow.
It's the oldest and now it's becoming the newest again.
Yeah. That's exciting. Ahead of the curve.
So what are you doing here in Colorado? And we can talk about the real brief brushstroke of the current moment.
Yep. Okay.
And then I want to go back to the roots of this because there's probably about at least 10 hours of video.
Oh my gosh.
Videos of me and you.
Oh my gosh.
And others included that people, if they were curious, we could probably make a little documentary. Maybe AI can make a documentary out of this by now, but let's see what we can touch on. And what are you doing here?
Okay, so what am I doing here? Still trying to figure that out myself, but the intention and the goal is I was in Kentucky and I am on the road from Kentucky to California to hopefully move to California, to Southern California. I have my 2 kids with me, Fries and Yay.
Fries and Yay.
Fries and Yay.
Wow. One day I want to get them in here. They are incredible.
Me too. I think it'd be just like beyond epic.
And their ages currently?
Okay. So Jonathan Fries, he is 6. Yay, Alicia, she's 3.
Okay. 6 and 3. Wow.
And so cute. And so I'm keeping a lot of things alive on this drive. I realized the other day I got Fries and Yay, myself, our cat, MC, a sourdough starter, like a historic sourdough starter from a monastery in Italy. Yeah, I was
There's so many connections right now. Hollis is in Italy. A couple interviews ago, it was all about sourdough. I've been like posting sourdough stuff all over my social media currently. The podcast guest tomorrow, Dr. Jack and his wife that I was telling you about.
Yeah.
They're traveling with 4 children, and 3 and 6 is very close to their 2 youngest girls.
Okay.
6 cats.
6 cats.
1 dog. And it doesn't even seem like they really know what they're doing. But so there's some weird web of synchronicities obviously being connected here. But please go ahead.
Whoa. I've got some plants too.
And plants.
I've got a couple
as well.
plants.
Okay.
Plants,
I used to travel to bonsai.
Yeah, I remember that.
Oh my gosh. So what kind of plants are you traveling with?
Some kind of succulent.
Okay.
And then like a snake plant.
Oh, nice.
We just got really attached to them.
They're great to travel with. Like plants are great to travel with because I used to think I was like up in the sky with that bonsai.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm grounded in the air, up in the sky with the
crazy.
bonsai. So anyways.
Yeah. That's awesome. So yeah, I'm just like, I'm keeping things alive. That's what I'm up to right now.
Man. Okay. All right. Cool. Mm-hmm. And That's an interesting way to put it. Keeping things alive. I like it.
Myself included.
Um,
That's a big part of it.
and you're doing. I don't know where. Let's go now back to the beginning.
Let's go.
September 28th, 2012. What happened?
Okay. For me, I showed up at a retreat. I was just like, I remember driving up it was in New York. I drove up from Pennsylvania, which the reason I got there was crazy too. And like so many synchronicities in that. But I like arrived there. It's like a big house. There's like a bunch of cars in the driveway, and I like walk up to the door nervous because I'm like, what am I doing? Like, I didn't even really think about the decision. I just felt it and I booked it. And I got there, and like Nathaniel, your brother, is at the door, and he was just like giving out the biggest bear hugs of all time. He was the sweetest person to see, like walking in the door feeling nervous. And then I like walk into the house. There's like people in the kitchen. There's people everywhere, and like all the health food, people doing handstands and all the things. And I just was like, okay, this is good. This is where I want to be.
Today, I actually spoke with Nathaniel. We had like a really deep conversation.
Aww.
And yesterday, my sister was like crying on the phone for many reasons. And one of them being because of how I hugged her last time when I was in Georgia.
Like a good hug or a not good hug?
Yeah, like the amount of love. And I started crying, listening to it.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just like, I'm gonna keep weaving this web of synchronicity as we go on, and that's just really cool to hear about your first impression with Nathaniel.
Yeah,
at that house, and this was a RawBrahs retreat.
Let's be clear.
The itinerary: expect nothing, experience everything. Was that the itinerary at this time?
Oh,
okay,
yeah.
that was still the itinerary. So that was, and there was 3 nights. I think three nights, 4 days. Albany, New York, at Perzan Irani's parents' house.
Yeah.
Because
I had no idea.
That was the co-facilitator, and our place in Manhattan got canceled, and we made a last-second shift, which was nice because Albany in the fall is quite nice. All right.
I wouldn't be there if that shift didn't happen.
Oh, yeah. Fascinating. Fascinating.
I wouldn't know you right now.
Isn't that so amazing? Like the infinite timelines that we could be on, and this is the one that we're on, and like because of September 28th. All right. So, anyways, so what happened? And whatever else you want to say. I know we could probably talk for 100 hours, but what's the golden thread that keeps going from walking in that front door?
Being unusual, like breaking normal. That would be the golden thread. Because the reason I found you guys was because I had been working at this job after college, and I just was so unhappy. And I remember having this thought of being like, oh, okay, like if this is the next 40, 50, 60 years of my life, like I don't want to do it. I don't want to be here. And I was in a pretty definitely thought about leaving the planet kind of place. Really didn't want to be here. Really didn't like where my life was at. Did not see a future or a hope or a purpose or anything. My dad handed me a Tony Robbins CD, and I listened to it, and it said, you can do anything you want with enough practice. It seems like a simple phrase, but literally that changed my life. Because I went, wait a second, like I could do anything? That blew me away, because I really thought like I was so in it. Like I was in the system. Like the system had my brain, and I was really just like, you go to college, you work at the job with the major that you had, and then you stay in that, and that's like the rest of your life. And I really didn't think that I could break out of that or do anything. I was like super caged. And so I heard that, and I was like,
kind of like the front cover of Breaking Normal.
Yeah, exactly. Like literally. Yeah. But with like blonde hair.
Yeah. Very blonde hair.
Yeah. So I was like, okay, I could do anything I want. Then what do I want to do? And I just started like down this crazy path, and I did a triathlon. I never thought I could do a triathlon. I just started training for a triathlon, did that.
Was this before the retreat or after? Okay.
Before it. And then I did all these other like crazy athletic things that I never thought I could do. And then I went to Florida, which is where I met Josh. And I stayed with a friend. Josh was my husband. When I came back, I remember being like, okay, like I really want to. When I went on that trip, I did basically a road trip myself, like just by myself from Pennsylvania to Florida. And it was like a yes trip, like yes day or
And this
yes
was
man.
before the retreat as well?
Yeah.
See, I didn't know this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, this is so illuminating for me,
Okay.
that knowing the actual chronological timeline.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you met Josh down there. And with
did.
a group of people, or?
No. Crazy story. Just like I was making it a yes trip where I would say yes to a lot of things that I wouldn't normally say yes to. I was just like yes to life. And I was at a bar with my friend, and the bartender was like, hey, do you want to go on a date with me? You want to go shark fishing? And I was like, yes.
Shark fishing. What town was this in?
Cocoa Beach, Florida.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
The bartender.
What
was his name?
No
Okay,
idea.
go ahead.
No
please.
recollection of his name.
Oh my God. Doesn't that look like a shark in the beer?
Let me see.
Oh man, it kind of.
It moved.
Anyways, it moved.
Okay,
All right.
okay,
I've
almost-
seen. You know how people see things in clouds? I see them in beer bubbles.
In beer.
Yeah,
Okay.
okay.
Yeah, I went on the shark fishing trip, and like as soon as I got there, like everybody seemed to go inside for some reason, and then like Josh was standing there and I was standing there, and we were both facing each other. And I was just like, he had on these like UK basketball shorts, which looked a lot like my Penn State basketball shorts. And both of us sort of described it as like our heels were kind of like digging into the ground, but we were like moving at each other and we couldn't stop it. So we just like connected. And he told me this story, which like, Josh. So like it was like a true Josh story about like how he his tire busted one night late at night. He's by himself. This guy comes over to his car. It's a bad part of town. And the guy's like, hey, man, like, I can fix your tire for you. Give me this much money. And Josh was like, I feel like this dude's about to steal my money, but I feel like I'm supposed to give him my money. So he does. The guy leaves. He disappears for hours. Josh is like, cool, took my money. Like, all right, whatever. The guy comes back finally, and he's like, dude, roll your window down. So Josh rolls his window down, and he was like, the guy looks at him and he was like, dude, I try to take your money. I do this all the time. There's something about you that made me not be able to do it. He's like, I don't know why I'm telling you this, but you make me want to be a better person. And so he said, can I get in your car and can you help me out? And Josh counseled him. And this is literally the first story Josh ever tells me. And I was like, I like this dude. This guy is unusual and I like it. And so, yeah, so the bartender keeps trying to get me to take shots on the shark fishing trip, and I don't really want to take shots or hang out with him and Josh. And I just keep going over to Josh, and the bartender keeps me like, hey, Steph, like, what are you doing? Trying to get me back. And I'm like, I really like talking to this guy. And so that's how we met.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Because then what was the timing of that meeting compared to September 28th? Do you know?
September 28th. That's when we met?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was driving back from Florida, and at the time, Josh and I were just like, oh, he's cool. Oh, she's cool. He did take me out on a date to get acai bowls. He knew I was a health coach, so he was like, oh, take her to get acai bowls. And I'm like driving back, like, so, and we were just like, hey, see you if I see you, kind of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm driving back and I was like, man, like this whole trip just really opened my eyes that I just really want to be around people who are like in personal development and growth and care about like feeling alive and like really living this life to the actual fullest. And I like didn't really know of people doing that, but except for Tony Robbins. So I'm like, okay, cool. I got the CD. Now I'm going to go to a Tony Robbins conference. So I went to book that. And I like put it on my credit card, which had like plenty of money to get this ticket. And then right after I book it, same night, somebody tags you guys, Vanessa
Van Edwards?
No.
I know that's Vanessa. That's
But
the girl I went to college with. Never mind.
she tags a picture. It's like all you guys, like 10 of you guys with like no shirts on, totally ripped, like at a beautiful location, all this stuff. And I was like, look like they're living. And so I looked at it and I was like, oh my gosh, like I want to be involved in that kind of a retreat. Because I like, yes, I was like, all these guys look great. But I was like, okay, like there's an obvious thing here that like there's more happening. So I went and like looked at the Facebook page or whatever and saw that you guys had just posted that night that you were doing a retreat in Albany, New York. And I was like, dang, I just booked this Tony Robbins thing. I just spent a bunch of money on this ticket. And I kind of at the time was more like limited in my thinking. And I was like, okay, well, I booked the ticket, so that's where I'm going. They call me from Tony Robbins. She's like, your thing didn't go through. Like your credit card bounced or whatever. And I'm like looking at my account. I'm like, this shouldn't have bounced, but it bounced. And I was like, okay, just cancel it. And then I like booked that retreat.
Wow. And that retreat, I mean, do you care to share anything that you remember from that retreat, the first 3 nights of meeting us?
Gosh, it definitely like blew me away. I was like, what am I doing? Where am I? But I like loved it at the same time. Like it was just people being real. I mean, the authenticity was insane, and I was really looking for that. I needed that.
And I think it's very important. If you think this is radical, it's maybe more or less radical than it sounds. But reading Breaking Normal is a good way to have the full context of what we were doing, which was really it was aiming to lose our minds and come to our senses.
Yeah.
And like break the addiction to approval, and become addicted to authenticity instead. And we had a radical, awesome experience. So much so, this is how I remember what happened next. That a few weeks later, did you not just start traveling with Diana afterwards? She just went home with you or something?
Yep.
Okay, so Diana just went home with you.
Yep.
My ex-wife, Diana, just for the newbies out there. And we weren't dating at the time or anything. And y'all were like having your own adventures. And then Timothy and I, and we were on a companion pass through Continental Airlines through this gay guy that was like really trying to win me over. He never worked. He eventually cut me off the free flights. So we were at the airport in Houston, where it's just like the hub for Continental at the time. So we could fly anywhere from there. Yeah. And we were trying to get to I forget where we were trying to go to. We were trying to go to Peru potentially. And because we had told y'all we wanted to meet y'all in Peru. Yeah. It's like you and Diana are together. And it's like, well, Timothy and I are together and we're looking to take a trip. And then Perzan's willing to go too.
I can't thinking about Perzan.
And then Perzan's willing to go as well. So Perzan was the guy I was co-facilitating this with. And oh my gosh. He was the guy I was like trained with radical honesty. The guy that Brad Blanton had a book called Radical Honesty, and Perzan was trained in it. And we were incorporating that into our retreats. But he was like, yeah, let's do it. Let's go to Peru. And I was like, all right, we'll go to Peru. We can go anywhere. So we'll meet you there at this date. Yeah. And I remember calling Diana. I was like, I remember telling her I was so into her that I would prefer if she doesn't hook up with Perzan or anyone else until good. I see her. Yeah. In Peru.
Oh, because Perzan was with us?
It was just because Perzan's so, y'all were going to fly down with Perzan from Miami.
Oh, yes.
To Lima, Peru.
We did. Yeah. And I forgot about that.
That's what we were going to meet y'all in Lima. And then we got to the airport and there was no flights to Lima. And we were just running to one like opportunity next. No standbys because we were on standby. No. And then I see this, I'm like looking at the screen. I'm like, what can we do? Because they're going to go to Peru. I'm like, Ecuador. Ecuador is right next to Peru. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my God, the flight leaves in like 20 minutes. And then we just sprint there. And Timothy he's like, where are we? What the fuck are we doing? You want me to get on this flight to Ecuador? They're going to Peru. And I was like, they're the next countries. This is like our best bet. We'll get a rental car or whatever. And we got on that plane and Timothy started arguing with me. And that's the one thing we can't do is stand by passengers is argue. You can't do that or you can lose your privileges. Oh, really? Yeah, you can't cause any fuss. So I'm like, shut your mouth. Well, I'll take care of it. And because he was probably under 18 at this point. No, he wasn't. No, I'm thinking of our first trip. He was probably 2012, 88. What is that? He was like 24, maybe 22. Anyways, so we go to Ecuador and y'all go to Peru. And then I will land in Ecuador and I find out we're 26 hours from Lima. We're like in Quito, Ecuador.
26 hours?
Like a 26-hour drive.
That. Wow.
So we rented a car and started driving too. And then we said we would meet y'all at the northern coast of Peru. There's this cool town called Moncura.
Yeah.
And so whatever you want, y'all ended up with Perzon.
Yeah.
In Lima, Peru, while Timothy and I were in Quito, Ecuador.
Yes.
And we rented a car, and then we were having the most epic trip through the Ecuadorian mountains, hot springs, jungles. It was epic.
Eating jackfruit.
Yes, we pulled it. We saw
good stuff.
We saw a guy walk out of the jungle with like a 40-pound jackfruit, and we just pulled right over him. Like, how much can we pay you for that jackfruit? And that was the best jackfruit in my life. I think it was like,
it looked good. I forgot about this until we're like talking about it, but I remember we were fuming.
Oh yeah, y'all had apparently a terrible trip.
We had a terrible experience. Like, it was just bad. Like, we got like our rental car had like no power steering. You know, it was manual. Luckily, Deanna could drive it.
She knows you're cool.
Yeah, so none of the rest of us drove it except maybe you guys. But it's like dusty and dirty, and the food, we were having a hard time finding good food and all this stuff. And we watch your guys' vlog that you post, and they are in waterfalls,
Hot Springs, they are Baños, Ecuador. Holy moly!
It looked so good, and we were just like, what? I remember we landed and we got the text that you guys were like, hey, we're in Ecuador. And we were just like, we're in Lima. And we all were just like, oh no. And then like the thing that was making me laugh the hardest is like something I will never forget because it was so funny to me. Was like, you guys are having this epic experience over like a couple days, I'm thinking.
It was like about 5 days to get down there.
Okay, yeah, you're driving. It's awesome. We're like in dust and dirt and like nothing. And just each day we start to get more and more like irritated about it. And then one day we pull over in the middle of this town, very, very small, remote town. And Perzon gets out of the car and he goes, I'm the fifth wheel. And he has this like huge realization and he's like so mad and he's just like loses it. I'm the fifth wheel.
Because like in a way, Perzon was delivering y'all to Timothy and me. And he was driving 12 hours through the northern Peru coastline. It's not safe.
No, it really wasn't safe. And
we were driving through paradise.
Yeah, paradise for sure.
And then we landed in Moncura, Peru.
And we were mad.
And wow, I was like, Perzon was so angry. Y'all were all
Everybody was mad.
And Timothy and I were like, and I mean, we're a pretty good combo to let some water roll off our ducks like a duck's back.
Yes.
Because I thought the trip got pretty good from then on.
Yes, it did.
And so much so that I asked Diana to date me, like to be my official girlfriend. I remember that. That was like near Chicama. It's like the longest left wave in the world. Mm-hmm. We got robbed in Trujillo, I believe, at the farmer's market. Robbed. Remember?
Yes.
Yeah, so all of a sudden, Diana has $1,000 ring on her necklace from her dad or someone, or stepdad or something. And we're in this busy farmer's market, and there's a fight. There's a huge fight all of a sudden next to Diana. And I'm like 20 feet in front of her. I'm like, what the fuck are y'all? What is that fight about? And I run over there, and then everyone leaves, and then Diana's necklace is gone. Mm-hmm. And then we go to the police station, and you're wearing pink, short. You look like literal Barbie.
Not the outfit.
You look like a literal Barbie in the most dangerous place I've ever been.
Yes.
And we go to like a beach Barbie, and we go to the police station, and they were very interested in our case, like so much so that we're like, we were like, everyone was like, yeah. Diana was like, I'm gonna forget the necklace because they were sketchier than the people that probably robbed us. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And then we finally got to Miraflores, I believe.
Yeah, that was awesome.
Miraflores. Oh.
That has like, I have a love-hate with Miraflores because I had it's so beautiful and it was so great. But then at the same time, we like had recorded a vlog there. And that vlog was like a turning point of the trip and for me. And then after that vlog, man, people did not like me at all.
Oh, okay.
They
so
were.
is this anything to do with the gay day? Day gay?
That
Day
was the
gay?
video you guys were talking about. Day gay.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
All right. So Timothy and I were like were you? And I don't know what yours and Timothy and Steph's status was different than Diana's and I.
Yeah.
Diana's and I's status
You guys
was
were
we were
a fish.
yeah, official. Like, and that was a big deal. She's from Denmark, traveling in Peru with stranger Steph. They're now like becoming best friends.
Best friends.
Yeah. So and then Timothy and Steph are having their own situations. And I think we were vlogging these days every day.
Oh, yeah.
We would do radical vlogs.
Yes.
And Timothy and I were talking about this idea of day gay, where we could be gay during the day and then be with our girls at night.
Yes, I remember that.
Yeah. And I could see it. Yeah, it probably triggered everyone in all kinds of ways, and including ourselves, including Timothy. Like, I was probably the most like, whatever, just put it out. But Timothy, I think, was getting angry as well. And so we spent a month in Peru because then we, from Miraflores surf trip, we had Timothy and I had a great time surfing. We had our better times, I think, collectively. And then we decided we're going to go to Machu Picchu. I think Perzan was like, you effers, I'm the fifth wheel. I'm going to Machu Picchu. And we're like, okay, we'll go to Machu Picchu.
He was very salty through that whole trip.
Yeah. We'll go to Machu Picchu. And I'm like, why not? And I think we had to convince Timothy because Timothy like kept wanting to surf in Miraflores or something. Yeah. And we took a flight to Cusco. Yeah, Cusco. And it was awesome. That was great. Diana had crazy altitude issues. I remember that.
Oh.
I was like carrying her around. I mean, we went to that crazy. We were hiking along the train, went to the crazy hot springs. Do you remember that drive we went down that?
Yes, I have told that story many times. I thought I was going to die.
That was probably the most dangerous feeling drive in my life.
Yeah.
We had to drive.
Same.
We were taking some shortcut to Machu Picchu or whatever to get there to the hot spring town before it. And they're like, people, we didn't know what we were doing. And they're like, oh yeah, you can take from here. You can take a car ride down there. It's like, it's pretty kind of crazy. But I'm like, well, who's going to drive? Like, oh, the guys wait there. So all these guys are waiting there with their rinky dinky cars to drive. I'm talking like, if they sneezed, we would be going thousands of feet down a cliff.
I've never seen Timothy that scared in my life. He was terrified because he was on the edge. So he was like the outer.
And we were all leaning. We were like, everyone leaned to the right because to the left of us was just sheer death.
Actually, yeah.
There's no way anyone could survive. And our driver, what was he, like 16?
And it was a
one-lane
road.
Yeah, the whole thing.
It was a one-lane road, and he was flying around curves, and we're like, how could he know if someone's coming around the other side? That was scary.
We eventually that got us to that hot spring town, which was that hot spring thing. I want to go back there. I just don't know if I want to go back that way.
I
pass on paragliding. We had a paraglider interview last time, and I feel like paragliding down would have been much safer.
Yeah. Okay. That sounds pretty good.
Yeah. And then Machu Picchu was epic.
Yeah.
And Ollantaytambo and Pisac. Remember how I got sick in Pisac? Did you get sick at all? I got sick for 24 hours.
I did get sick.
When did you?
I got really sick.
Very bad.
When we were staying in Miraflores.
Okay.
As we were all sharing that one little room. There was like five of us. And there was like one little bathroom, and I was sick.
Wait, that wasn't in Montserrat, or was that in Miraflores?
Miraflores.
Now you're reminding me. That's when I decided to ask Diana out because Diana and I were like sharing a room, and remember the bathroom's like the room.
Yeah.
And I got terrible diarrhea.
I think we all did.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about too. It was like I ate lettuce that I'd rinsed in the water.
Okay.
I didn't think about the water hitting the lettuce, and then I just lost it.
But I remember after having diarrhea in front of Diana all night long, I was just like, and she got like drunk. She never gets drunk. And I was
no, she does not.
Yeah, and so then the next night I was like, we should date. Let's just make this official. I'm like, there's nothing left to hide after these retreats. And now that I diarrheaed all in our bedroom, like, I think we're good to go.
That's so true, though. There was really like everything was on the table.
Yeah.
There's no like, who are you?
Yeah.
We know.
Well, and then from there, I mean, that was such a memorable experience. We kept repeating those memories for years.
Yeah.
Y'all kept coming to retreats, and then we started co-facilitating retreats, and y'all had a little video blog stint called the Raw Sisters.
We did, yeah. I think that was happening maybe during Peru.
They may have, yeah. A lot started brewing. Okay, yeah. And then how did Josh, before this retreat, then reconvene because then I started working with you and Josh, but how
Yeah.
did y'all reconvene?
So I came back from that trip. I'd gone on a couple other retreats, and then I decided to move out to California. And I just packed all my stuff in my car because, again, I was like kind of in Pennsylvania, just like, all right, like you guys are all out there like doing these awesome trips, and I wasn't there anymore because I kind of got bumped out. I got bumped out of the group, and I was like, this sucks. But I'm just sitting there like, what am I doing with my life? Like, I had this like life experience and aliveness, and this is so great. And we're like having these crazy things happen. And then I was just like, and I'm in my chair in Pennsylvania, and now life sucks. So
what Perzan called the post-retreat blues.
Yeah, PRBs.
Yeah.
PRBs. And so I was like, okay, no, like I'm not going to be this person. I'm not going to be the victim. I'm going to go live a great life. And so I decided to pack up my car, move to California. Really similar, like almost exact situation as right now, like not knowing where I was going, but knowing it was probably going to be somewhere in Southern California and let God guide me. And I drove out there and I was like, I'll probably go to San Diego. My cousin lives there. At least I know somebody. And I'd been posting on social media and I got to like close to California. And Josh I guess he'd been watching my posts and he called me or texted me or something and was just like, hey, I'm in LA. Like, why don't you come hang with me? And I was like, great.
Wow.
You know, I was like, I knew something was going to come along. And that was that something. And so I went there.
I love that you do that. Ever since I've known you, and it sounds like it happened a little before me, but I love that you go towards the destination without knowing what it is, but knowing that it will become clear.
Yes. Yeah. There's like a trust.
Clear
that
pattern
like,
with you on that one.
Definitely. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but it does later. So yeah, that's where we started dating.
So did you like drive to his house?
Fell in love. Yeah. He had, oh my gosh, he had an apartment with 6 people, I think. A 2-bedroom apartment with 6 people. Yeah. And I moved in. Not like knowing I would
6 guys and 1 girl?
What? There was a girl.
Oh, there was one other girl.
There was another girl.
Okay.
A bunch of guys, you know, from Kentucky, just wanted like ready to break into the film industry.
In Malibu.
Pacific Palisades. Right next to Malibu.
Is that house still standing or did it get, or that place, is it burned down?
It burned.
Okay.
Yeah, like that was like a whole secondary loss that happened like in the beginning of this year. Like where we said I love you, where we went on first dates, where we lived, everything burnt down. And so that was really hard. I like had quite a few days of like not getting out of bed for that one. Cause it's like, you know, like, okay, my person's gone, but at least I can go back to our places. And it's like, no, we don't have those places anymore. We still have places in other places, but it's really gnarly to know like that's gone forever. Just like he is, you know?
And Josh is gone.
Yes.
How would you describe that? I'm realizing some people might be hearing this story for the very first time.
Yeah.
So we skipped ahead a step.
We did. A big step.
Because y'all started dating. How long when y'all started dating in that chaotic situation to when Josh proposed to you at the retreat in Utah that we were facilitating?
Yeah.
What was that time lapse?
Oh, I have no idea. But if I were
Like
to guess,
years or
maybe a couple years.
Okay.
We
So y'all
traveled
just
for a while.
fall in love dating from then in Palisades. And did y'all end up moving to your own place together or?
Yeah. We well first we went to Hawaii. He wanted to do a retreat there. We went there so he could do it, and then I like made the food for the retreat so I could be a part of it. And we just like
which island?
Big Island.
Okay.
And they were like, hey, do you guys want to stay? Like after the retreat ended, do you guys want to stay and like help us run the retreat center? Because they would travel. And we're like, yeah. So we lived there for a while.
Which retreat center was this one?
It's called Holly Kai.
I might be going to the Big Island mid-June with Divina.
That's a spot right there.
Are those people still doing that?
Oh, yeah.
I'll have to. All right. Maybe we can talk about that.
Yeah, for sure.
All
That's
right.
you know, Allison. That's
That's
Allison's
them.
Allison's parents. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes. I interviewed Allison.
Oh, you did?
What's her last name again?
Teal.
Yeah, Allison Teal.
Mhm.
Yes. Okay. In Captain Cook area.
Yeah.
That area is beautiful.
With the dolphins. You can
Yes.
swim with the wild dolphins there. So cool.
And yeah, I now remember you. So you and Josh were living there?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
How long were y'all there for?
A half a year to a year.
Dang.
Yeah.
I forgot about that part. Okay.
And then we moved to Encinitas, and then we moved to Irvine? No. We lived in Encinitas 2 times.
Okay.
2 different times.
Where Divina was born.
Yeah.
Encinitas.
And then eventually we moved to Laguna Beach after we got married.
And all right, but so during this time, that's
Yeah.
one when we did the Fit and Fearless, wasn't it
Yeah.
called Fit and Fearless
I
retreat
watched
in Zion?
Fit, Flawed, Fearless, and Free.
Fit, Flawed, Fearless, and Free, Zion, Utah. Daniel, Diana, Josh, and Steph.
Yeah, and Moab.
Oh, and Moab. We
Zion
did a
and
duel.
Moab.
That's right. We had
Yes.
a couple nights in Moab.
That was
first.
pretty legendary.
That was legendary.
Yeah, I just watched that video like maybe a few months ago.
Like the retreat recap, or like
it was when we were advertising it.
Oh man, on the couch.
It's such a good video. Josh tells a story in there, and I was just like, oh, it's so special. It's cool that we have that.
Maybe we can even link that video to. I mean, oh gosh, that would be rough for me to watch for so many reasons too.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. All right. So and on that retreat, this is what I remember about that retreat. I remember a lot of things. I remember us being in like that Moab waterfall. That was epic.
That was cool.
I remember Zion National Park, and especially the hike up to Angel's Landing.
Of course.
Because we were I'm facilitating this group with not this time Timothy and Nathaniel, but Josh, Steph, and Diana, and it's getting pretty late, and we're doing what normal people would call one of the more gnarly, dangerous hikes, Angel's Landing in Zion.
Like a deadly. They
yeah,
say
you gotta
it's
pay
deadly.
attention. You gotta pay attention. You have to hold on to even chains and such towards the end.
Yep.
And
on like a sheer cliff.
Yeah. It's epic. I recommend it, and I think you can make it safe. But what was happening, it was getting late, and Josh was just acting so weird to me. I was like, "What the freak is going on with Josh?" And he's like,
because Diana was the only one who knew.
"Yeah, oh yeah." Y'all were all acting weird. I was like, and then all of a sudden, Josh, I'm like, we gotta get these people up and down like ASAP because the sun's like setting and it's gonna get dark, and that like chain area in the dark might not be fun for everybody. And he's like, "Yeah, hold on. I'm gonna go propose to Steph." I'm like, "What'd you say?" He's like, I'm gonna go propose to Steph," and I'm like. Said them like, okay, like all is fair in love and war. I'll just surrender my ideas of how this is supposed to go. And they're like, we'll meet you up there, Josh. And he's like, yeah, you'll see me up there. Just take everyone else up there. And I'm like, okay. So all of a sudden we all arrive, and then Josh proposes to you.
Yeah. And the only other 2 people who were up there were National Geographic photographers.
Yeah. They got pictures.
So our pictures were epic.
Yeah. And no one really cared. I mean, I knew we had a little bit of a hairy situation in the back down, but everyone was just like, it was a real successful proposal.
It was.
It was not like gosh, it was just I felt it. Everyone was just so blissed out. It went from like this like feeling of like a little worry to like, oh, everything is love.
That's something about you that like is so funny to me. It's like you will do all of these like wild extreme things, but when it starts to get dark and dangerous, you're like, we're done.
Oh yeah.
And
Someone's
that
got
night,
it.
you were like, and I said the same thing. I was like, no guys, this isn't the plan. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
And Deanna was with me, and she was like, yeah, we're not doing that. And then she went and talked to Josh. I didn't think anything of it. And she came back and she was like, we're doing it.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember Diana and Josh
weird.
being like, why does Josh look so goofy, and why is Diana pushing this ridiculous?
She pushed it hard, and I was like, weird.
Oh wow, that was epic.
But she knew.
Yeah, that was a big deal.
Mm-hmm.
And then I officiated y'all's wedding.
Yes.
In Laguna Beach, another epic experience. So like what another ridiculously successful wedding.
Yeah, that was really cool. Like a retreat wedding.
Yes, I think y'all even kind of explained it that way. And I showed up with a Breaking Normal book, I think, and a Bible or something, and I had like a Hawaiian shirt unbuckled with a freaking cowboy hat on, officiating y'all's wedding, and it was all good. Everything was great.
It was great.
What was this? You remember how long y'all were engaged? I'm trying to think
No.
of the time lapse
I
between
think it
Zion and that.
maybe like a year or something. I remember it kind of like went on for a little while because I came back from visiting my parents in Pennsylvania, and on the flight back by myself, I just had this like whoa moment, and it was just like go. And so I came back and I sat down with Josh, and I was like, okay, I'm ready to get married. Let's pick a date, and like let's have our kids, and like blah blah blah. And he was just like, okay, because he had been ready for all that. I guess he was just waiting on me. And I had just this like epiphany moment of like, it's time. Cause he had said to me, before we got married, he like got out of the shower. He always had his epiphanies in the shower. He got out of the shower and he was like, I just heard from God. And he said, God told me that we're going to have a son and his name is Jonathan. And then after we have our son, we will have a daughter. And I was like, whoa, because I was not ready for kids. I wasn't even married yet. I knew I wanted kids, but I just wasn't there. So, yeah, I sat with that for a while, and then I'd taken this trip, and then I flew back, and I just sat him down, and I was like, let's go, let's go, let's go. We picked the date that in that moment. We called people. We were like, let's go. And we did it like maybe 4 months later or something. Got married 4 months later.
Okay, and then with the intention of having
and then we
children that God told Josh about in the shower.
After we got married, it was like, and then we were pregnant. It was like boom, and our first son was a boy, and his name is Jonathan, and our second child is a girl. Yeah, so that's Josh.
Well, I also what I want to say about Josh, just so the people that didn't know Josh, in the way I did, or he had this, you say that like almost normally, like, yeah, God,
Yeah.
and he probably said it very normally.
Yes, of course.
But this is, I'm telling you, we used to go like on I remember taking y'all on like scouting trips to see where we're going to do the retreats and just for fun. And then all of a sudden it's like, wait, where's Josh? And he's like, oh, he's meditating over there near that cactus. And it's like,
so Josh.
And then we're all like, and then all of a sudden we all just start. We're like, all right, well, I'm gonna sit and meditate too. I'm gonna do some breath work as well. And that happened so many times with Josh that I was just like the Rob with like Timothy and I, especially during any of the experiences we had, we definitely helped take the lead. But when Josh would do something weird, we would be like, something weird. Let's go. Just see what's happening. Maybe we should do this.
Yeah, there's just something about it when he would do that. Like, okay, I think something's cool is gonna happen.
Yeah,
and then it would.
Yeah, I think we had a lot of faith in Josh, and I think because Josh had ridiculous faith.
He did. Yeah, and I don't think we've even said this, but Josh passed away a year and a half ago.
A year and a half ago.
Yeah.
Do you want to, so my dad, for instance, today, he I think at like somewhere during the chaos of the country's pandemic thing, he got bladder cancer basically.
Oh yeah, you told me that.
Yeah, and he's been going through like treatments, and he's been pretty good. And today he got like they did like the doctor wanted to do one final test, which is a very invasive. Like it just sounds like he wore like a freaking bladder bag yesterday, like with a catheter. It's just like, oh, and my dad's like, imagine that. I'm like, do you want me to imagine that? Should I imagine this? This sounds really rough. I mean, like, I want to support him.
Yeah.
And I've been talking to him, and today he got the results. It looks clear. Everything looks clear again.
Amazing.
What?
It's incredible.
Like, I want to hear, and whatever you want to tell us, but what happened to Josh? Like, Josh, I just went, because I had a few guests, and I got Sean, the honey guy, the other day was telling me how he's like, people just don't get sick, and like he was telling me, people just don't get sick and get cancer and die. Like he told me that. Yeah. It's like usually a buildup of things now, and like I had to kind of like stop him. I'm like, man, like I do believe that as a broad stroke way of stereotyping it, but there seems to be people that I've known that were extremely healthy and thriving, and then something happened like getting cancer and they died pretty quickly. What happened with Josh?
Yeah, it was very fast and unexpected. He got cancer. It was called a UPS sarcoma. It's a tissue cancer, and it was really crazy because within like us seeing a little bump under his arm and then him dying, it was 11 months. It wasn't even a year. And probably 6 or 7 of those months, we had no idea it was cancer, which was the craziest part. And essentially what happened was it was just this tiny bump. And then in January, we're at the beach and I was like, hey, there's a weird bump under your arm. And he was like, I know. He just was like, I think it's like an ingrown hair or something. And he said, don't worry about it. And I'm like, okay. And then like 2 months later, in like March, it was like the size of a baseball. And then by May, it was like the size of a basketball. And we had gone to this person who said, hey, maybe go to the dermatologist. I think that's your best bet. Go to the dermatologist, get it lanced. So they'll cut it, put like some little holes in it and see if it'll drain, which if you know about cancer, when you cut it, it spreads. So they put the lance things in, nothing drained out, and it just ended up being this gnarly open wound, about that big. And I would need to put wrap it in 2 Depends diapers every day. That's how big it was. And it got to the point where his arm was up here. He was leaning forward. He couldn't put his arm down, and he's pretty much like, I mean, his arms were like that big. He was pretty, like, everything. You could just watch everything go. Like, it was pretty crazy to see a cancer outside of the body because it was literally sucking the life out of him, which was crazy to watch. And really an unreal experience for me, like so much unknown. But like, we don't know it's cancer. We just know it's a thing. And we're trying to figure this out. And he's taking all these things and he's like fasting or like doing a juice cleanse and like doing like we're putting poultices on it. And like everybody's trying to give us ideas and suggestions. Just like, you kind of have to like zero in like, God, which ones? Because it's so many options and nothing is working. It's just growing at a rapid rate. And I mean, it was pretty crazy, Daniel. It was like to look at it, like, because it was open. I mean, it looked like the moon. Like, it was like all cratery and like spongy, and I'd never seen anything like it. It was very alien. And not that I know anything about aliens, but it was just, I can't really describe it with words. And then to see him, in so much pain, and like Josh never said I'm in pain, like not one time. And I've heard that cancer, I don't know how true this is, but I heard cancer is 3 times more painful than childbirth. And I know what unmedicated childbirth is like, 2 kids. I'm like, that's unimaginable how much pain he must have been in. And I had no idea because he never let on. But it just got crazy. And I was getting into a really bad place, and all of a sudden I'm just taking care of the kids full time because he's sleeping all the time and like can't do anything. And I'm like have my coaching career and my clients, and then I'm full-time mom and I'm taking care of him, and we don't know what it is, and it's growing and it's scary. So I just I couldn't sleep. So somebody came over and was like, oh, you should try like these weed gummies. So I started taking weed gummies to sleep, and I'd sleep through the night finally, but then I couldn't wake up in the morning. And so I'd like be slamming coffee like all day. And I was like, okay, none of this is healthy, but I don't know how to get through the day without it because I'm losing it. And I was like, I've never felt like anxiety or fear or stress in my life like that. And it was crazy because right around that time, that's when Josh came out of the shower and he was like, hey, like, Jesus Christ is my Lord and Savior. And I was like, what? Because he'd always talked about God and Jesus, and he loved Jesus, and he loved, he was a big fan, but he really was like, and he just started pouring out everything. I'm so sorry for this. I'm so sorry for that. Like, please forgive me. And just started, and then was like, call my mom, get her over here. And so she came over, and he just starts apologizing about anything that's ever happened in their lifetime. Like, I'm so sorry. Jesus is my Lord and Savior. Like, and I did not have a relationship with Jesus. So I went to Catholic school for 12 years growing up, but I was like, what's happening right now? I didn't understand it at all, but I was just like, okay, like, I forgive you. Like, yes, it's okay. And he started playing like worship music around the house. And he'd be like, Steph, this song is so good. And he would put on like a worship song and have like the kids and I come over and like watch it. And we were like, okay, cool. I was like, yeah, whatever. Like the most I'd ever listened to worship music was I had the song Oceans on my like playlist or whatever. And I just was like, this is a good song. But like shortly after that, this is funny. I was walking into a TJ Maxx. And I had just been listening to some of the worship songs he was saying are so good. And I'm like walking into the store. I'm in the parking lot. And I have this lyric run through my head that I'd just been listening to. He said, you didn't want heaven without us. So Jesus, you brought heaven down. And I just started bawling. Like I couldn't control it. I was like I'm in the middle of TJ Maxx trying to walk in to go buy something. And I was just like, what is happening to me? And I had multiple experiences like that over the next like week where I would just hear a lyric in my head and I couldn't explain why I was crying. It just moved me. It like touched my heart. And it wasn't a cry like, oh, it's so beautiful. It was like, I'm moved. Something inside of me is changing as I feel this. And so I just started listening to the music. We liked this one artist, and I like Googled her, and it was like saying that she lived in the OC, Orange County, and we lived there. And I was like, wait. And then there was like a church there that I was like, maybe she goes there. And I looked it up. It was Sunday morning, and I look it up, and the service is at like 10:30. It was like 9, and I was like, Josh, do you want to go? Like, maybe we'll see her. We could tell her how great our music is. And he's like, yes. But like, imagine this. Like, he is like a basketball and he can't move or get up really. And he was like, I want to go. And I was like, okay, we'll go. So we go, we take the kids. And right in that first service, they do like, they ask you if you want to receive Jesus as your Lord and Savior at the end. And I didn't really know that was coming or that was like a normal protocol or anything, but I just was like, yes, I do. I do. I think I want to do that. So I raised my hand. They're like, raise your hand but everybody's eyes are closed. And then I open my eyes and I look over and Josh's hand is up too. And I was like, oh, we just did that together. And he was like, this is so exciting. And so I just go on this like rapid, like when I like something, I go all in. And so I was all in. They were like, at that service, they were like, we have a women's Bible study on Wednesday. I was like, cool. I show up to the women's Bible study, which is like a couple days away. And then I am reading the book, the Bible study book every morning before the kids wake up. And I'm like reading it and it says, it's all about how to tend to your flock, that you need to tend to your flock. And it really hit me like in my heart. I was just like, tend to my flock. Okay. Well, Josh and the kids are my flock. And I'm like having this conversation with God in my head, where I feel him answering, it's like a real conversation. And I'm like, God, this is like a brand new relationship with him. But I'm like, God, should I tend to my flock and like give up like my coaching clients right now and like fully focus on just this and them? Because this is what matters most. And I felt this like, yes. And I was like, God, I'm scared. Like, I'm really scared. I'm scared about what's happening. I'm scared that if Josh is not bringing in income, I won't be bringing in income. How are we going to support ourselves? How are we going to pay for our home, the food we need to eat, and feed our children? What do I do? And he was like, it's okay. Trust me. And I was like, I trust you. I was like, I trust you, God. And so I walked in, I sat with Josh and I was like, Josh, God just told me that it is time to just tend to you guys, tend to my flock, and that he will provide. He'll be the provider. I'm like, I'm hearing about how he's the provider. Okay, yeah, he'll be the provider. And he was like, amazing. Like, I'm fully on board. And I'm like, yes. Like, that's what I loved about our relationship was like, if I was in, he was in. If he felt it, if he knew it was right. And so he was like, I am in. Let's do this. Let's go all in on God. Let's trust him fully. And so we sat there. He goes, let's pray. And so I was like, okay, sounds good. So we sit down and pray. And he's like, we're praying for provision and like God to show us that he's going to be the provider and he's going to take care of us. And I was like, I'll lay all the other stuff down, God. Like, I'll just take care of my people. And we're like, he's praying this like beautiful prayer. Josh prayed the best prayers. And I hear his phone ding, like a text come through. And we finish the prayer and he picks up his phone and he starts bawling, like crying. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, I don't know if this is a good cry. I don't know if this is a bad cry. What is really going on? And then finally, when he composes, like gets back into composure of like his normal self, he was like, he said, Steph, I have a text on my phone that said, God just told me to give this to you. And it's $4,000. And he's like, just send me the link and I'm going to send it over to you. And we just sat there and we just cried because we were like, God is good on his word. Like if he says he is going to do it, he is going to do it. And I'm telling you, after that, we had a manila envelope with no name show up on our doorstep with $1,000 in it. We had people just start Whole Foods gift carding us left and right. Like we had food for our family. Like we were eating good quality food. And then a meal train started and then all these things and then support came in and it was wild because after that, I'm like looking back like maybe a couple weeks or a month later and I start to realize like I haven't had weed gummies or coffee in weeks. And I have this peace and, you know, everybody talks about the peace that makes no sense or the peace that surpasses all understanding. And I was like, this is crazy. I am so peaceful about all of this. Like God came in and just gave me this crazy peace to the point where like our family members would be like, Steph, I know you're not okay. You don't have to put on a front in front of me. Like, it's okay. You can break down. It's hard. And I would be like, guys, I can't explain this, but I'm good. This is going to work out. Like everything's going to work okay. And I have full faith in that. And Josh felt the exact same peace after that. And it was just like from there. So that was like, you know, there's that six month-ish mark where I was just like anxiety, fear, stress, worry, freaking out, can't sleep, can't wake up, whatever. And then like Jesus comes in the picture and all of a sudden it's just like peace. Like we got this. We were like, I felt us come back as a team, like Josh and I, and we were like, okay, we're going to take this on together. We've got this. God's got us covered. He's taking care of us. We don't have to worry. And he did. And both of us had this feeling like Josh is going to get a miracle. And Josh did get a miracle. They cut that thing out and they shouldn't have been able to because of the veins and the arteries and stuff. But they got that out and we were like, that's the miracle. Man, I could tell stories for a long time, some crazy ones about that time in my life, but.
Wow. I mean, just real quickly, I remember one time, like just a quick reflection on it just blows my mind that people that don't have faith and that there is something like divinely orchestrated going on, especially like catalyzed by sincere prayer.
Yeah.
And because to tie it to a just minor story, I remember Diane and I probably our worst moment financially ever. And like we're on the road, like looking for a hotel with extremely low funds, like late at night, like in Southern Oregon. And I think I remember I'm like I just prayed out loud in the car, like a sincere, almost like a prayer of like the metaphor of on your knees, like for like some. And I remember like also just like thinking like if I could just get like $1,000, then I think I'll be okay. I just need like $1,000 right now. And I think it was that day or the next day, I get a text message. Do you know Joel Olmsted? I get an Apple. I've never used Apple Pay in my life, and I get an Apple Pay for $1,000 from Joel. And I was like, wait, is this a scam? Like, is this like one of those things they were listening to us and they're like advertising? Like, what is this? Like, as I call him, and I'm like, what did you just send me a text? And he was real humble about it. He's like, yeah. I was meditating and God told me to do that.
Wow.
And I'm like, And I feel like I have enough stories too where it would just be ignorant to not believe
Yes.
and something beyond
Yes.
my senses and beyond my sensations that is divinely for us.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, and that story, that's crazy.
Yeah.
So what happened from there after the miraculous removal?
Well, he came home. He had been in the hospital for months and maybe like 2 months. He went in to like get some advice on how to bandage this thing better. And I went to pick him up and he was like, they won't let me leave. And I was like, what? And he said, they won't let me leave. I have to get a blood transfusion and I have to get electrolytes. And he had to be there for the next like 2 months because I mean, literally, like if he wasn't getting daily blood transfusions, he would have died. Which was crazy for a lot of reasons. But anyway, he started getting, and I mean, he truly was like, I mean, skin and bones, but this thing was massive and alive. And it was a crazy thing. And so he was there for months. He came home, which was like, it was just crazy. And honestly, like Daniel, it was when I drove him from the hospital to Laguna, like our house in Laguna, I'd never seen anything like it because he had been in a hospital room for like 2 months and he's not a caged kind of guy.
Yeah.
And he was actually losing it looking at things. Like he was like crying and he was just like, oh my gosh. It was like almost like his eyes couldn't take it. Like you could just see him just being like, whoa, like the beauty of like the world and like everything outside of a hospital room. And he came back and we got to have Ye's birthday. We got to celebrate her birthday with her. He missed Jonathan's. He actually had surgery on the day of Jonathan's birthday. He got to be back for like a whole month. And Josh did not waste that month. He was just doing crazy stuff. We had all kinds of crazy stories from that. And he looked rough. I mean, he was missing some of his pec. He was definitely like deformed, his arm and his body and everything. And I was changing his bandages daily, which took about an hour. There were like multiple steps to that. And it was just really wild to look at. And then he got like a scan. He went in to get a scan and then on Friday and then on Monday they called me. I guess he didn't pick up his phone. And they were like, hey, like I'm so sorry. Like it was the guy who had done some radiation on it. And he just kept saying, I'm so sorry, Steph. I'm so sorry. And I was like, what? And he said the cancer spread to his lungs and it's stage 4 and I don't know how, but we missed it. And I was just like, like, oh no. And I told Josh and God just told me like, get him on a plane to Kentucky tomorrow. And you guys pack up your house as fast as you can and get over there. So we did. And he had maybe like a month in Kentucky. He did a little bit of chemo, which did not go well. And then he died. But he did not waste it because that time he was in the hospital there, he literally, people were coming to him and getting saved in his hospital room. He would do like live streams and stuff. And it was really beautiful. And like there was one time that we went and we, as I was walking into his chemo room, this woman was like, Steph. And it was his teacher. And she was like, hey, we are here with my, like a friend, family member. And she said, he is like probably going to die tonight. And and I was like, I just felt this like, we need to pray for him. And I've never done stuff like that. I was still like a new Christian. But I was like, God's like saying to me, like, we need to pray for this man. So I went into Josh. I'm like, Josh will so be in on this. I'm like, do you want to go pray for this man? And he was like, absolutely. But like, he's rough. Like he's in a rough state and he's got all these wires and things attached to him and he had a really hard time walking. So we had to go like all the way down the hallway to this guy's room. He was on the same floor, but walk really far. And Josh was like, I'm doing it. And so they like got him all detached enough that he could walk. And we went to the guy's room, and they were like, he's been pretty much non-responsive. His eyes were open, but he was like not responsive. And we went over there and we just prayed outside of the room with the group of us that was going in. And then we prayed over him there. And like during Josh's prayer, he started to move. The guy started to move some. And he didn't die that night. He did die maybe a week or a few days later, but he stayed alive longer than he was supposed to. And when he came back to the hospital room, he was like, the nurse came in and she just said, "You guys have no idea what you just did." And we were like, "What?" Like, we just prayed over this guy, it felt right. We did it. And she was like, every nurse on this floor was watching that. And she said, there are nurses here that have cursed God, that have like, just said horrible things about his name. And she said, they just came up to me saying, because I saw that, I believe in God. Like, that man, like, so selfless, like, he's in his chemo treatments, he's dying, like, he's in a bad place. He got up and selflessly went and like prayed for this man, this other dying man. And they were like, it just moved people. Like, these nurses were like, just like, I believe in God. And Josh's nurse specifically was like, she said, after doing this so much and watching so many people die, I started to doubt God. Like, why are you doing this? What is this even about? And she was like, you renewed my spirit in God. So, it's like, he didn't waste it. He died quickly, but he didn't waste those weeks.
And aren't those videos on his Facebook or something? A lot of the videos?
Yeah.
So people can check that out. Where do they find that?
I think it's just Josh, Josh, Tarnofsky.
We could try to find a link to his Facebook page, because I remember my brothers and so many people being moved by that.
Wow, that I love to hear. That really touches my heart when I hear like the stories of how Josh like changed people's lives. Makes me really happy. It's crazy.
Yeah, how do you care to share how this has changed your life?
Yeah, I would love to. Man, it's changed my life in every way, but it's just shown me that more than anything, it's just shown me how real God is. Like, I mean, I lived most of my life like not having a relationship with God or Jesus. So, I mean, it's really been like a year and a half, 2 years, about 2 years that I've had a relationship with Jesus. And it's just shown me that like there's somebody out there for me. And he's for me in the way of like, he's going to provide. And he's for everybody is the crazy part. Like, he's not just like, oh, I'm like Steph's best friend. It's like, he's everybody's best friend. He's just waiting to take care of us, to provide for us. It's really shown me like how hands off I can be with life, of like, I really don't have to stress. I really don't have to be anxious. And when I start to feel those things, like, I just hand them to him, because I'm like, you told me you are the provider and I trust you. And like, you would think like once the father of the family is gone, that it's a really like massive gap. And I think it is without God in that space, because in the Bible, he says he's the father to the fatherless and he's the defender of the widow. And I've watched him be the dad like so many times. And it's like, it is heartbreaking to like watch your kids like want their dad. And like, I mean, probably one of the hardest things I've ever experienced in my life is just hearing Jonathan like be like, I want dad back, like bring dad back. And I'm like, I can't. There's like literally nothing I can do. And it's like so powerless to feel that. And but like, even like one night, Jonathan woke me up in the middle of the night and he was like, Mom, my eye feels really weird. And I was like, oh, go back to sleep, like, you're good, you're fine. He was like, Mom, no, it feels really weird. And so I went in the bathroom with him, and I look at his eye, and like, I've never seen anything like this. It looked like maybe like the the clear part of the eye just started to kind of come off. And it was like gooey and kind of sticking. And it really freaked me out. It really scared me. I'm like, whoa, what is happening to my son? And it's like midnight. So I'm like, put him in the car, start driving him to the ER because I don't know what else to do. Like, I have a lot of remedies for a lot of things, but I didn't know anything about that scenario, what was happening there. And I'm driving there and I was just like, this is crazy. I'm in the middle of grief. So it's like, I'm exhausted, beyond exhausted. I have nothing to give. I'm just trying my best to keep my kids alive. And I'm like driving him to this ER and I'm like, this is horrible. Why is this happening? Please don't let something bad happen to my son's eyes. And then it like clicks in my head, like God said that he is the father to the fatherless. I'm like, because I was sitting there, I think what made me think of it is I'm sitting there and I'm just like, Josh, like I need a dad. Like I need the dad in the seat next to me doing the dad thing. And so I was like, God, you said you're the father to the fatherless. Like, please step in. I'm like, you know his body better than I do. You can help him more than I can. Please show up. And I'm doing that desperate prayer. And about a minute later, Jonathan's in the back and he goes, Mom, my eye feels better. And I was like, okay, like, let's get to the ER and I'll take a look in the light. And literally got to the ER and like perfect eyes, perfect sense. And that's just like one of like so many stories I could tell about like how when I'm just like, he needs a dad. He needs a dad. And then I like explained to him like, God is your father and he like took care of that for you. Like, so we didn't have to go to the ER and we didn't have to do all those things. I like really want that to lock in for him. So, because we're not growing up as victims. Like I'm not growing through the years and my kids are not going to grow up as victims. We're not going to be victims to our circumstance. We are going to be people who make a difference in the world and do great things and inspire others and contribute to the world. And I just want him to know that like he's got a dad. Josh was an amazing dad, but he's still got a dad. And I still feel like I have a partner now that I've like let God be that for me. I'm like, oh, the areas where Josh would pay for stuff or buy things, it's like somebody will come up to me and just be like, can I pump your gas? Mm-hmm. Or be like, can I buy you dinner? And I'm just like, okay, I'm not alone. Or like on Mother's Day, I got this massive bouquet of flowers that was exactly what Josh would have made me. And it was my friend being like, God just told me I should make these for you. And I was like, okay. I'm not lacking. It's wild. It's been a wild like year and a half. Mm-hmm. And I've gotten to speak at a widow's retreat. I got asked to speak. And it was just like we're creating good now. Like I'm in a space where I can help others and I'm coaching again and yeah, it's pretty cool.
On that note, if someone wants to reach out to you, is that something you are open to?
Yeah.
And how is like the best place to reach out or follow you or whatever?
Probably my Instagram. It's just my name, Steph Hendel, STUPHHENDEL. And you can just message me there or,
Oh yeah, and maybe if we don't end up getting like the Facebook page or any of these other resources in the show notes, they can reach out to you. I have a feeling some people are going to reach out to you.
Yeah, I would love that. Anybody who's, experiencing grief or loss and it's like making you feel like you don't want to be here anymore, like reach out to me because I really I can understand what that feels like. And in the beginning of losing Josh, I was just like, do I want to be here? It just makes you doubt why you want to be alive sometimes. And I don't want anybody to doubt that because I am living proof that there's so much more and there's so much hope and life can be exciting and fun. And that's the place I'm in now, which is really, it's cool to be there. Like there's so much ahead.
Yeah, it's rugged. That's like a rugged thing to describe for me because Josh in a way is one of probably the most impactful people that is no longer here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, that's meaningful. That's like meaningful for you to know that he is.
Yeah,
I mean, you are as well, and your kids definitely are. Yeah, y'all's kids definitely are.
Yeah, I mean, just knowing that like his life mattered to like people, that like heals my heart every time I hear something like that. So thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, and if anyone that's like, and what I will say, like anyone that's helped me believe in all the things you just said, like some of the stories, like the driving force behind all the stories you just shared. I definitely believe Josh believed that.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why I was like, that's why we always like kind of like paused our agenda when Josh was doing whatever he was doing.
Whatever he was doing.
And it was
Yeah.
usually sitting in silence. That's what it looked like from the outside.
Yeah. Yeah. It was wild to kind of look back, like once I started reading the Bible for the first time and be like, hear how Jesus would go into silence and just be by himself for a while. And I was like, gosh, I understand Josh so much better now. Like, I get what he was doing. Because sometimes I'd be like, Josh, go back.
Well, I don't. What do you have any belief about when you say Josh come back? How do you have any belief about how Josh is still here, or is that can you describe that with words at all, or no?
Yeah, I mean, I think from conversations that I've had with people who are Christians, it seems like that perspective when they go up to heaven, they're just so consumed in the glory, and they still love us and care about us, but it's sort of like it's different, and I guess we'll only know when we get there. But I have this belief that when I see the signs and the things, that it's God telling me that he's here with me. All the little Josh things, I believe, are God just being like, I know that this meant a lot to you, Steph, or like, I know that you love this thing, and I know you loved when Josh would do this, so I'm gonna do it for you. And like him just being like the best father, the best partner, the best adventure buddy that I could ever have. And I just have this feeling that God is taking care of him. Jesus is taking care of him so good, and he's just so happy up there. And I look at it as like when the 1 year anniversary of when he died, I just looked at it as a celebration, like an anniversary. Like, you've gotten to be in heaven for like a whole year. Like, that's awesome. It's like hard, as a human, because I'm like, I'm still here in this crazy world, but how cool. Like, he's just like gotten to be in the best place in the whole world for a year. Like, lucky.
Wow. Okay. I think we've almost known each other for 15 years, if I'm doing the math correctly.
I knew you would remember how many years it's been.
Almost.
That's a long time. Wow.
And yeah. Thanks for leaving me speechless. What time are we at?
Okay.
Is there anything else on your heart?
Wow. I mean, there's a lot on my heart, but I feel like we talked about some really, really good things here.
Yeah, it really, it just kind of like shatters like all like memes, like all man-made ideas in my mind that just get like shattered through this conversation.
Good. That makes me very happy.
Why break normal when you can just shatter it to oblivion?
Yeah. Yeah. I think that's, ever since meeting you and your brothers, and I do want to say this, yes, because I was thinking about this, that like you guys really made a huge impact on my life, and I just wanted to thank you for that. Like, you really changed the trajectory of my life. Like, I was seeking like to feel alive, and not just like, woo, thrill seeker alive. I just wanted to like feel like I could like feel, I was so closed off and shut down, and like being around you guys really, like, I look at some of the characteristics of who I am as a person today, and I'm like, that really built me. So thank you for like being brave and doing all the crazy things you guys did, and it changed my life.
If you look at it like the infinite possibilities, then I can't thank you enough, because without you, I don't know if Divina would be here.
Oh yeah, that's true. That is true. Wow. Wow. Whoa. And then Deanna, I remember she was the one that was like, "You're never gonna be ready for kids. Have them now." And that helped like propel me to have Jonathan.
Wow.
Yeah, I mean, this is like a lot of crazy things, but
well, I love the podcast even more. Thanks for contributing to it.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Yavel. Let's Do Podcast, for holding the space.
Shout out, Yavel.
Are you gonna go to the sauna?
Yeah, sauna, cold plunge in the most beautiful creek.
The creek is very like baptism quality water right now. So
Okay, perfect.
it's real nice right now. God bless y'all. Keep breaking normal.